All right, our goal here will be to continue graphing linear equations. However, if you look at the equation when we start, it's not set up the way our equations have been. Usually we have y all alone, like our other examples, y equals 3x minus 5, or yesterday in a different lesson we did y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Okay? Notice this one doesn't have y all alone. So that's what the directions say. First, solve this thing for y. That means we need to get the letter y all alone. And in order to do that, we got to think back to chapter 7. And how did we solve multi-step equations? Well, first we looked for distributive property, but there isn't any here. Then we combined like terms. There isn't any here. Then we undid addition and subtraction. Now remember, we want to keep the letter y here. So to undo addition and subtraction, we're going to subtract 3x on both sides. Now I've got y equals negative 5 minus 3x. Well, to make it look like the ones we were doing, right, like when we had y equals 2x plus 4, the variable x was the first part on that side of the equals. So what I want to do is I want to get this over here and this over here. In order to do that, I need to have all addition. So negative 5 plus negative 3x. Now when I rewrite it, y equals negative 3x plus negative 5. That looks like the things I've been doing. Well, next it says we should graph it. To graph it, we need to make a table of values. That means the XY chart. Again, it doesn't tell us what x has to be, and our coefficient here is a whole number, so I can choose anything I want. I'm going to choose 0, 1, and 2. Let's see, if x is 0, substitute in a 0. That's negative 3 times 0. 0 plus negative 5, that's negative 5. Now it says substitute in a 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus negative 5. That'd be a negative 8. Next it says substitute in a 2. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 plus negative 5. That's negative 11. When I graph that, I'm going to walk 0 and climb negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, way down here. Then it says walk 1 and climb negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it says walk 2 and climb negative 11. 1, 2. Climb negative 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, look for patterns. The pattern says climb 1, 2, 3 and go to the left 1. Climb 1, 2, 3 and go to the left 1. So I'm going to continue that. I climb from here to here to here. I'm going to climb 3, 1, 2, 3 and go to the left 1. And climb 1, 2, 3 and go to the left 1. Climb 1, 2, 3 and go to the left 1. Climb 1, 2, 3, go to the left 1. Climb 1, 2, 3 and move to the left 1. Connecting those dots, I get a very steep line. Now if you think back what we did in the last lesson, we asked, is this thing a function? Now it's not asking us here, but I do know this is a function because it would pass the vertical line test. So, time to practice a little bit. You might want to try these and then come back and see if you agree with my answers. Here we go. Hopefully you've tried them at least. I need to get y all alone. I'm going to subtract 2 x's on both sides. Y equals 3 minus 2x. Most of us like to have the letter x, that term, in the front. So I'm going to say plus negative y equals negative 2x plus 3. Okay, I'm going to come over here, make my XY chart. And I can use whatever I want for x. I'm going to do 0, 1, and 2. Substitute a 0, I get a 3. Substitute a 1, I get a 1. Substitute a 2, I get a negative 1. I'm going to plot my points. Walk 0, climb 3. Walk 1, climb 1. Walk 2, climb negative 1. I'm going to look for patterns to get from this dot down here. It looks like I go down 2 and right 1. Continue that pattern, down 2 and right 1, down 2 and right 1. Continue it the other way. I should have a nice straight line. Always read the directions. Let's see, it doesn't say, but I do know this thing is a function. Try this big one. I I need to get the letter y all alone. Well, they subtracted x, so I'm going to add x. Y equals 5 plus x, or y equals x plus 5, whichever one of those makes the most sense to you. Let's see. XY chart, coefficient on x, there's an invisible 1 there, so I'm going to use whole numbers like 0, 1, and 2, and if x is 0, I get a 5, if x is a 1, I get a 6, and if x is 2, I get a 7. And that says walk 1, climb 6, walk 2, and climb 7. The pattern is up 1, right 1, so I could do that a whole bunch of times. I could reverse the pattern and say the pattern is left 1, down 1, and I'm going to get a lot of dots on here. I know it doesn't ask, but I do know that this thing is a function because it's not a vertical line. All right, last one's probably the toughest. I need to get y all alone. Let's see. They did addition, so I'm going to subtract. I got to subtract negative 3x on both sides. That's adding 3x to both sides. 2y equals 6 plus 3x. Again, a lot of us like to have this term in the front, so now it says 2y equals 3x plus 6. Next, I need to get y all alone, so I'm going to divide by 2. Back in chapter 7 we said you got to use a big fraction bar to divide that by 2. Well, we need to take this one more step. We're going to divide each term by 2. So I'm going to do 3 divided by 2, which is 3 over 2, or 3 halves, x, plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. This is my equation now. If I make an XY chart, I could do 0, 1, and 2, but we've talked about this. When your coefficient on x is a fraction, we should go up by the denominator. So I'm going to go 0, 2, and 4. If I substitute a 0, 3 halves times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. I'm going to substitute a 2. 3 halves of 2, 3 over 2 times 2. If you got to do a side problem, 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. That's 6 over 2, which is 3. 3 plus 3 gives us a 6. If I substitute a 4, 3 over 2 times 4 is 6 plus 3 gives us a 9. So I'm going to walk 0 and climb 1, 2, 3. I'm going to walk 2 and climb 6. I'm going to walk 4 and climb 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Way up here. Again, we look for patterns. To get from this dot down here, it looks like I would down 3 and left 2, down 3 and left 2, down 3 and left 2. I could continue that and get as many dots on the graph as possible. That way, when I connect the dots, I get a nice straight line. You should be using a straight edge. And this one is also a function. So really the new thing today was being sure that we could solve for y first. And remember, when you make your XY charts, if your coefficient of x is a fraction like this was, then you're going to want to count up by the denominator. Good luck.